Hello, my name is Abby Linville, and this is part 2 of my Module 10 case study. So when I left off in part 1, I was evaluating the different options that I had. After evaluating, I'm going to guide you through how I came to my decision. So looking at all of my options, right away, options 1 through 3 are off the table for me. They show a lack of leadership, and I believe they would lead parents to think that I do not value their input or my relationship with them. Family engagement is far too important for me to throw away those opportunities. Option 4 would have a direct negative effect on my relationships with my teachers. They would have no input on important policies, and they would not have any input on the increase in demands that are being placed on them. I also valued my relationships with my staff and would not be willing to go forward without hearing their opinions. That would leave me with options 5 and 6. They are both solid options. Creating the site council would really meet the goals that I described earlier in part 1. My goals were fostering and promoting collaborative relationships, advocating for the success of all students, supporting my teacher staff, and making sure that I have a chance to build connections with all community stakeholders. With building and creating a site council, I believe I would be able to meet all of those goals. I can make sure that everyone is represented and heard, and I can make sure that I continue to build relationships within the community. Option 6 was the workshop option, and it also puts a huge emphasis on collaborative relationships and focuses on students and involves teachers, but it does not at this time involve all community members, where it wouldn't be able to at first, but it could potentially do that in the future. This led me to my final decision, which is to create a site council. I think it's the best option because it meets all 4 of my goals right away. It allows me to ensure that we have a diverse representation on the site council. It allows me to still maintain the leadership over how policies are being implemented in my building. And it allows me to guide the school improvement plan. But it also, at the same time, gives the parents group a voice, and that's the voice that I believe that they are currently looking for. It gives them some influence on school policies and how they are implemented. And after getting the council started, I think the workshop option is something that we could also work towards if it is needed in the future. So now that I have made my decision, I have to think about what are my steps for implementation. So to implement my plan, the first step I would need to take would be to inform the superintendent about the situation, because I need to explain to him the reasons why I feel a site council is necessary for the family engagement in my building. I would also like to discuss with him if there would be funding available to provide a stipend for the teachers who are participating in the site council. Or if there isn't funding at the district level, if I would be able to find funds within my independent school budget to provide a stipend for teachers as well. This next step after that would be to reach out to the teachers. I need to know that they understand the why that we are creating the site council. They need to know the purpose of the site council and explain the role that they will play on it, and how important this site council will be to the school improvement plan. After explaining it to the teachers, I would then encourage them to email me to express the interest that they have in representing other teachers on that council. The next step I would take is I would reach out to the parent community liaison. I want to make sure that the community members that are part of our site council would be the best fit for us. She has already created a lot of great connections with community groups, and I would love to have her guidance on who she would see being the most beneficial community groups to be on our site council. The next step that I would take is to set up a meeting with the parent group. This is probably the most important step because I need the parent groups to have buy-in on the site council. So I would start by letting them know that I appreciated the plan that they had created and that I truly value their involvement in the school community. I would share my concerns that I have with them about breaching the teacher's contract and some of the confidentiality issues that I feel like might arise. And then I would share that I still, though, would like to hear their voices, and I want to hear not only their voices, but the voice of all stakeholders involved in the school. And this is where the side council would come in. They would have representation on the side council, and we would work collaboratively with them so that they have a strong influence on the school community. I would also express to them that I would love to start to come to their meetings as well. If they don't think this is enough or they do not like the side council idea, I would then ask them to share their concerns with the site council itself to see if we could sit down and come up with some common ground so that we could make the site council work to meet their needs. If that doesn't work, then we could start exploring the workshop if we were at a standstill, and that would be our next step or option if they didn't buy into the side council idea. After I received the okay from the parent group to go forward with a site council and that would satisfy their needs for parent involvement, I would then begin to form the site council. I would reach out to the teachers that had told me that they were interested, and I would start working on identifying some key community members to place on our group, and I would then follow up with the parent group to see who their representatives would be as well. After that, I would then find a common meeting time for everyone and schedule regular meetings, and we could start our work on the site council. Here is a list of references that I used in my presentations today. Thank you so much for hearing my response to the case study. Have a great day.